Hey you guys, welcome back to Racket City Yardstead. I'm so glad you're here. If you're new, my name is Sarah and welcome. So I am in the process of making dinner and we are headed out to the garden because I need to find myself an onion for dinner. This is quite the wild and weedy looking mess here, but here in the next day or so, I really need to get out here and harvest all of the carrots as well as the onions. Right now, we're going to look through here and try and find us a good onion for dinner. Ooh, there's a nice one. This will work. I thought I would show you guys since we're out here. Now that the bee balm has blossomed, the bees are loving it. I just come out here and there are so many of these big, beautiful bees hanging out. I also thought y'all might appreciate what I found. My first ripening tomatoes. Cherry tomatoes, of course, but very exciting to see. We got our onion here nice and cleaned up. We've got 3 squash that I rinsed up that I pulled out of the fridge. These are ones I've harvested over the last couple of days. And we're gonna make squash casserole. I have some country style ribs in the oven. They've been cooking for a couple of hours. I don't know if everybody has country style ribs where they live, but I like to cook them wrapped up in foil at a lower temperature. So these cooked for 2 hours at 300 degrees and then opened up the foil packet, basted them with barbecue sauce, and now they're cooking for another hour at 275. And I just put sort of basic barbecue seasonings on them: salt, paprika, garlic, all those kind of traditional things. So we like this squash casserole with that, and it'll give us some leftovers because we'll definitely have leftover ribs. And that means one less day I have to cook dinner. So for our squash casserole, we're gonna dice this onion up. We'll slice up our yellow squash, and then we're gonna add some of my frozen peppers from last year. So that's one of the reasons I love this recipe. It's so good, but it also lets me use a lot of things out of my garden. If you've heard of squash casserole before, I will be making this a dairy-free version. It's the first time I'm doing this, but we are going to try some dairy-free shredded cheese. I've used it in a few different applications and I've been pretty impressed with it. But if you don't need to be dairy-free, just use cheddar cheese is a good option, just whatever cheese you like. But we are going to get our veggies all nice and sliced up. Trying to decide how big a slices I want here. That's the thing about growing it in your backyard. If you buy them at the grocery store, you can kind of try and get everything the same size. But if you saw the video where I mentioned the squash before, I picked these after having been out of town for my niece's graduation. And so they were just whatever size they were when we got home. Now, I am putting these into a steamer basket that fits on one of my pots. Some people boil the squash, and I have had it like that. It's not necessarily my favorite because I feel like the squash gets really kind of waterlogged. And for me, steaming it works a little bit better. But if you don't have a steamer basket, you can absolutely boil it in some salt water for a little bit. I've also seen some people just saute it to get it a little bit tender. So there is not necessarily a fixed way to make this casserole. You can play with it and make it however you prefer. Man, I think something bit me when I went out and picked that onion. It doesn't smell bad. I don't know quite what to make of this one, you guys. I'm gonna bring it over and show you. There is a green ring under the skin. I've never seen that before. I'm gonna, it tastes fine. The texture is right. I don't know. I wanted to check it because it came off of a different plant than the others. Make sure we didn't end up having like a bitter squash that was a cross-pollinated one. Toxic squash, if you will. But it tastes fine, so I think that's just an interesting little character quirk of this squash. Now that our squash is all chopped up, we are going to add about half a cup of chopped bell pepper. You could use fresh bell pepper if that's what you have, but I have all of these in my freezer that I need to use up. We may go a little heavy on that. Now that we've got all of our veggies in our steamer basket, we're gonna add it to our pot. I've got about an inch of water in here, and we are gonna steam this from like 5 to 10 minutes. It really just kind of depends on how thickly you sliced your squash. I slice mine fairly thinly, and so I'll probably be more toward the 5 minutes, but also sometimes different squash just take longer. So, you know, go the 5 minutes, check it, and we're just looking for it to be fork tender. While our squash is steaming, we're gonna mix up the sauce for our squash casserole. The first thing I'm gonna do is beat an egg. I'm just gonna go ahead and do this in the casserole dish that I'm using. That way I save dishes. Ooh, I lost a little bit of my shell there. There we go. Just get this. Ooh, y'all, this might not have been my best idea. It's a bit like nails on a chalkboard. Oh, you know what I could do? I have an idea. Learn from me, you guys. If you're gonna do this and you don't like the sound of a fork scraping on something, silicone whisk for the win. Now we're gonna mix in about half a cup of mayonnaise. We're gonna add some garlic powder, salt and pepper. Get it seasoned up nicely. I know people don't like it when you say season to taste, but in my experience, it really is a personal preference kind of thing. I have family members who reach for the salt before they even taste food. And then some of us have more kind of standard salt tolerance, and I don't know. My dad was one of those people who just reached for the salt before he tasted anything. Not to be too TMI, I guess, but he was one of those people who was just a profusive sweater. And so I think maybe he just actually needed the salt more than some of the rest of us. So here we go. I'm using this Violife dairy-free cheese. There are other brands. I can't speak to those. This is the only one that doesn't have corn in it that I found. And so that's why I use it. We're going to add about half a cup of it. And like I mentioned earlier, just use regular cheese if you can have that. I'm going to mix that in. This is now ready for when our squash is finished cooking. Their veggies are nice and fork tender. So we're going to get them tossed in here. So we'll just get all of this nice and mixed into our sauce. It smells so good. Those hot veggies hitting that cheesy, garlicky mayonnaise mixture. It smells delicious. I'm gonna get this kind of level as much as you can get a bunch of chopped veggies level. And then we are going to add some breadcrumbs. Today I am using a gluten-free panko. These have fantastic ingredients. It's rice flour, raisin juice concentrate, honey, and salt. I've been experimenting with rice and I seem to be tolerating it a little bit in small quantities. So this seemed like a good application to give it a try. To help these brown up a little bit, I'm just going to spritz them with some avocado oil. And totally optional, but I like the way it works. We're going to sprinkle on a little bit of smoked paprika. It's ready for the oven. Our squash casserole is going to go into a 350-degree oven for about 30 minutes. Ooh. 30. When it's done, we'll come back and give it a try together. Here is our squash casserole fresh out of the oven. It looks so good and it smells delicious. Let's dish some of this up. Let's see some of that creaminess in there. This is going to be delicious. Let's give our squash casserole a try. I know that my mom and I really like it when it's made traditionally with regular cheese, but we're trying it today ourselves for the first time with the dairy-free cheese. That Violife brand does a really good job mimicking the flavor of cheddar. And it's nice and creamy and it's got that little bit of a cheddar flavor. So this is delicious. I'm really excited that it worked in this. But there you have it, squash casserole. I hope if you've never heard of squash casserole and you've got a garden full of yellow squash coming in, you'll give it a try. It would be really good with zucchini as well. So thanks for hanging out with me today. I will write this up and link it down in the description box for you below. I hope you guys have a wonderful day and I'll see you next time. Bye.